that, even with this record, knowing that you probably have a big tournament with that?
Yeah, we will and we do. And this last week is the perfect segue for March for us. We're treating these games just like two tournament games because they are. Two really good teams. SMU first, of course Louisville after that. But this is what the rest of March is like. If you want to win a conference championship tournament, you got to beat really good teams. You want to advance, hopefully in the NCAA tournament, you got to beat really good teams. So I think this week is a very good kind of segue for that and approaching it that way.
A couple weeks ago, you said you didn't really care about the ranking and the speed, just your team getting better. But
Yep.
how satisfying is that, just knowing what this group has had to go through in just a short amount of time to come together?
Yeah, for me, it's more so just about them and the guys getting some type of credit, I guess, for the work and the season that they've had. I mean, for us as a team, it doesn't really change much. It's still a lot that we have to do and a lot that's on the line for us. But just I appreciate it for them because of everything they've overcome and everything they've done this season to get some type of credit, some type of validation. I think it is well warranted.
Now that you have a week left in the regular season, I'm sure you're obviously super, super busy, but do you ever take a moment to kind of think like, okay, like this has gone pretty well so far?
No, I haven't. I always said I probably do more of that, I guess, reflection period after the season. I'm just trying to stay and keep everybody, the program, the players, everybody just in the moment as much as possible. Still so much basketball left between now and even, conference tournament, but after conference tournament, just so much left and so much more you got to get better and continue to do. And so just trying to keep everybody focused on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you guard against, now that you guys are ranked, you guys thinking, oh, we're pretty good?
Yeah, no, you want them to feel that way, and you want to have as much confidence right now at this part of the season as possible. But you also don't want to lose the edge of how you got here and the reasons you got here and why you're here. Just because you're here, you haven't arrived. And, for me and for the program, this is something we want to be common and something we want to be familiar with, I guess is the best way to put it. And so, just getting everybody to understand that and be on the same page with it.
Do you think now, obviously you had some bumps in the road early in the season, you guys are playing really well right now. Do you think it took that kind of maybe first, I don't know, 20 games, I'm just picking a round number, but that first set of games really to kind of get the growing pains out? Because obviously it's a brand new team, brand new coaches, everything needing to kind of work itself out, and you guys learn how to mesh and everything. Do you think you guys have kind of figured all that stuff out by this point?
No, you never figure it all out, but I think the season has prepared us for this. And I think the way that our season went and our scheduling was has led us to this point. And you have to go through some things and experience some things to kind of be able to deliver your message and tell your message. So, it starts just going back playing Florida, that game, and then growing from there. And then, the BYU and the week in Orlando. And then, coming out of that, starting the conference off to good and playing Clemson. So each step and each part of the season has kind of built us to where we are. So I think in that case, it's gone as planned.
What's the big thing that stands out against SMU?
I mean, they are as good of an offensive team as we've played this year. Just thinking back, even thinking through BYU, I think they're a little bit different than them. But offensively, they have so much firepower. With Pierre and Boopie Miller, just how they play, how the pace. They're good. They're good as SMU. But I think it's just the firepower on offense and their pace and speed and the way they play. We haven't played anybody like that in a while, so it's a little bit different than the teams we've played. I guess the one team that would be, I guess, as close to that would be North Carolina State, but it's still a completely different brand. And so I think offensively trying to slow them down, give them different looks is the biggest thing.
Defensively, though, they kind of have that a little similar identity.
Yeah.
You guys wanting to force turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Does that kind of play into your favor since that's something that you guys?
No, I think it makes it for it. It should be an exciting game. It should be a fun, high possession, fast-paced game. The one thing that's going to be exciting for me to see, they're one of the best teams at limiting points in the paint. That's kind of what we do. I think they have like 28 points in the paint, but they give up. We almost get double that. And so it's kind of identity in a will game. So that'll be good to see just how we kind of, I guess, flow and play off of that.
Have you had any chance to look at Louisville yet, or is that just That's a Thursday, Friday thing.
Yeah, that's a Thursday, Friday thing. I haven't looked at them. I've seen them, just with them being on TV, but I've never watched a full game. So, you know about them just because you hear about them, but I haven't got to watch them.
Coach, you mentioned them limiting points in the paint.
Mhm.
We've seen Nolan play a few more minutes.
Yep.
And the increase in three-point shooting.
Yep.
What's the depth looking like heading into these last portions of the season?
Yeah, we got to use everybody. Everybody, I think Nome, with his minutes against Boston College, of course, has, earned some more minutes, but he hadn't done anything to kind of put himself, I guess, in a bad position. It's just kind of the flow of games. And, styles make fights and make games. So, the way Boston College played was a good game for Nome. And this one is a good game for Nome, too, because they play a little bit of zone. So it gives you the ability for him to stretch the court and give you some different looks. But we need everybody, and we've had guys who have played a lot of extended minutes. We're banged up a little bit, but I think everybody will be available for the game, but we'll see coming down. But, this is the part of the year where it's live or go or die or go home. I guess I think I said that right. Maybe not. But so you have to be willing to just roll the dice and see, and go with how you feel and adapt to how the game's going. Can't get stuck in your ways too much. So if it's a moment where, you have to play solid and earnest together, kind of everything's on the table.
With that, the ACC tournament's still around the corner. With this win, you're likely going to get a bye. Is that a conversation with the team that you have that you're trying to emphasize that, or do you just keep it in the background?
That's a great question. I've kind of stayed away from everything with the guys until yesterday. And now because it's just a little more, March is a little more intense, just a little bit more pressure. And now we have to be able to deal with it. Like this week, we're treating it like a tournament week. Like this is, we have to win both these games. It's no like we're comfortable or we're in a situation like you're saying where we got a double bye. Like we're playing for everything still. And now I think it's time for them to understand that because that's what this part of the season's about. So, like, leading up to this, we hadn't talked about the tournament. We haven't talked about March Madness. We haven't talked about double bye, any of that. But now, because of where we are as a program and where the season is, I felt like it needs to be spoken about.
Coach, post games, your social team posts videos of a mask being
Yeah.
handed out. Can you give me just a little bit of a backstory?
Yeah. So we got a new mask. The guy who actually made the Jason mask sent us a mask. So we have this orange and green mask now. And it really started just the first game. It was just kind of trying to figure out like what could be kind of our theme and identity for who we are. And I felt like the Jason horror movie type of big ugly bully was kind of the theme, and the first movie is like a remake. There's this scene in the movie is what I showed him before the game where like he has this bag over his head and he's still trying to figure out like who he is, and then he goes in the attic after he's like done bad things, and so he finds this hockey mask, and then he puts this hockey mask on, and then he looks in the mirror, and you can see after he sees himself and looks in the mirror, he's kind of like, okay, this is who I am. I'm gonna embrace this, and I'm gonna wreak havoc. And I felt like that's who we are as a team and who we had to be as a team. And I just wanted to show them and build that kind of confidence and that identity in them. So it just kind of came organically.
What was the first mask you used?
The first mask we moved, it was a Jason mask, but it's just one we ordered off Amazon. So now we have some cool updated Hurricane green and orange mask. That's pretty cool. So it's been good.
And the guys obviously have a lot of fun with it. That
They do.
goes to this team like really come together, the culture, the chemistry thing.
Yeah. Just getting, it's hard, and it's going to be year to year because you have to adapt and change. But it's hard because you never know how many people you're going to have back every year, and you may have 10, 12 new guys next year. So you have to give them something that they can rally around, something that kind of builds a connection, something that builds a bond, because it doesn't pass down, and it's not as organic as it used to be like 5-6 years ago when you have people who stay 2 or 3 years and they can kind of teach the new guys and the freshmen like what's the culture about. A lot of it now is driven by the environment, by the staff. So having some things that are kind of staple in the program is what kind of helps you build your culture nowadays.
Favorite movie? What is your favorite movie?
No. It's not. But it kind of fit when I was just thinking through it and walking through it. But it's definitely not one of my favorite movies.
You got time for a couple more? Anything else?
Appreciate y'all.
Not more above.
Nah, not at all.